We are back. Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the slight delay on this, but we have returned and we are getting set for the race here at United States round 15 out of 16. We've got qualifying sorted out. It is behind us now, and we are just about ready to start the race here. Once everybody does connect in, we'll have our formation lap and then, of course, the race. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining back in to the session here after a little bit of an issue, a connection issue here. After qualifying, it seems like connecting mid session, mid qualifying is not great for the game, but we got it sorted out. Getting ready to jump in. Joined still in the commentator's booth by Ephraim. Hello, Ephraim. How's it going? How's it going from about 5 minutes ago?
It's getting a bit late. It's around 10 o'clock right now in Malta. But definitely I'm really excited to see what these guys are going to offer. As our viewers predicted, Chapelele will take the pole position. So now let me ask them the same question, but on the general note. Who's going to take the win? Is it Chapelele or maybe it's another guy? I would like to see what they think about it. But definitely this is going to be a good race. A lot of penalties that I expect in this Grand Prix, as I think you already know that a lot of drivers managed to invalidate their lap much more than other track circuits, definitely.
Yep, and you're bringing up a good point with the penalties. I spoke about them a little bit in qualifying, and I could not speak about them enough in the Division 2 race. Penalties are going to be a big factor here, especially through the S's in Sector 1, on the exits of the final corners, penultimate corners, through Sector 3. Going to be very, very challenging, and those who can keep it clean through the entirety of the race might be at a very much so an advantage compared to those who are maybe pushing the track limits a little bit too much. But to take us through the order here, as I've got a little bit of time on that formation lap, Chapelele, as predicted, leading the way here, as predicted by the chat and as confirmed after qualifying, with Netsky in P2, Ryder Dowell in P3, Rotation in P4, Izat Kush rounding out the top 5 here with Nathan JB, Ryan Malta, Mark Ferg, and Jamie in taking positions 6 through 10, all on the soft tires as they set that lap time in Q2. They do get a fresh set of soft tires with the reset, but still obligated to start on that tire, which may or may not be beneficial to them, given what everybody else has opted to do behind them. AJ Wuhan, best of the rest, poor man's pole position. He put on the medium tires for that Ferrari, starting in 11th. Josh, 2 and 12. He's got a similar idea, putting on the medium tires. DeWill, he's opting for the hard tires here, so a bit of an interesting strategy from DeWill. Knight in 14th, the second Red Bull on the mediums, with Feral Fury also on the mediums. Eklund down in 16th. He's putting on a set of soft tires, so expect Eklund to have a little bit of a jump off the start here compared to everybody else around him, with Andon and Jamie 93 in 17th and 18th here, and Jamie 93 having a little bit of fun here, warming up his tires on the formation lap, as I caught that there on the mediums, trying to get them up to temperature as quickly as he possibly can. He is going to be starting at 18th, and in a McLaren this time around, rather than the Alfa Romeo that we saw him previously in. So here we go, lining up to the grid. It looks like Mark and Ferg had a bit of a coming together somewhere in the formation lap, as they are already on the grid order. But here we go. I'm looking at the chat here. We've already got a prediction. Cohen predicting Chapelele to take P1 here at the end of the race. But we've got 28 laps to go to figure this out. It is definitely going to be a duel. Definitely going to be a hard-fought race for everybody here. And let's see how it all plays out. Here we go. The grid is lined up. 28 laps around the United States circuit here at COTA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. and the lights are off, and we are racing here at Coda, and it looks to be a good start for everybody here as they head towards turn 1, battling for position. Looks like Netsky trying to make a move on Schiaparelli, but that's a Racing Point going wide. I think that was Nathan JB going a little bit wide through turn 1, losing out on a position to Ferg, but still trying to come right back, going side by side here, the Racing Point and the McLaren of Nathan JB and Mark. You know they're going to be respectful to one another as everybody battling for position here through the S's. Oh no, and that was a Ferrari of AJ Wuhan, I think, and Andin having a big moment here early on. AJ Wuhan way far behind, as you saw that on your screen. I think he lost the car a little bit through the S's, and he's going to have a bit of a recovery drive here now. But through the S's, through Sector 1, it looks like for the most part everybody made it through cleanly. What's happening to DeWill though, as DeWill going a little bit, he fell down the order. Jamie 93 and Endon now going side by side as they're heading towards down the end of the long straight. Who is going to take that position? It looks to be for now Andon, but no, it's Jamie who gets slightly more ahead. They're still side by side now through turn 1, battling for P15. Looks like Jamie finds that traction he needed. He gets ahead of Andon up into P15, so already starting to make his way up the field. But crucially now, Eklund and Feral Fury now are battling it out, but I think Eklund got that overtake done. As predicted, he's on a bit of a flyer here at the start on those soft tires, trying to catch up to the top 10 here and get back into, try to get back up with everybody else on the softs and close that gap. But a bit of an eventful first lap, with Schiaparelli though still leading the way after lap 1, and just about everybody making it through relatively cleanly. No unscheduled pit stops after lap 1 here, it seems.
It's a very good lap also by Schiaparelli, who managed already to overdo the Division 2 fastest lap. It was around 1:51, and as I'm saying right now, Schiaparelli, he did a 1:32.719, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. It was a little bit of a jumble up in the grid, as usual. But it was a very good lap also by Schiaparelli, already pushing a lot to take a little bit of distance as well between Netsky and Schiaparelli. Right now, as we don't have any DRS, we're seeing also the Ferrari guy Ferg trying to overtake Ryan. It's a very good fight between them, and yes, Ferg managed also to take the position from Ryan, as Ryan is suffering a little bit with those soft tires. No damage at all, but definitely there was a little bit of changes. Ackland from P16 to P12, and as I'm seeing also Ferg, he managed to take 3 positions up from the 9th position to 6th position, and I think that's much of it. Like, a lot of drivers kept their position.
Yeah, a bit of everybody playing it safe here off the restart. While you were mentioning all of that, we had a nice little battle on the screen between DeWill and Andon. Looks like for the moment it's the Red Bull who got the better of the Racing Point. But as you mentioned, Ferg now up into 6th, as I believe he got ahead of Ryan Malta, who is now down in 7th, but still chasing down the Ferrari, and came very, very close to taking that position right back through the S's, carrying a lot of speed and nearly bumping into the back of Ferg in the process. Isaac Kush very quickly here on lap 3, first driver to take a time penalty, so 3 seconds now will be added on to Isaac Kush's time, as it is going to be probably the first of many penalties to fall here in this session for probably every driver, I would think. But here comes Ryan Malta now, going down the inside with the help of DRS. Very quickly makes some work of Ferg to get back up into P6. Eklund and Josh too now had a little bit of a battle here. I think Eklund now got ahead. Rotation finds himself now ahead of Ryder Dahl, as the Haas driver for this week is trying to work his way up the grid, trying to close that gap, catch back up to the likes of Netsky and Schiaparelli, which, to be fair, the two of them have kind of run off and are starting to drive their own race a little bit. A 1.6 second gap between Netsky and Rotation, P2, P3. But I think Rotation, he's going to try to put his head down now. Now that he's got a little bit of clean air, he's going to push to try to catch back up to these 3 and maybe bring Ryder Dahl, who's sticking very close behind, with them here, as long as they don't get caught up battling with each other for too long in the process. But a relatively clean race here for everybody. As you would expect in Division 1, not too many incidents, not too much contact to report here. Everybody holding position, biding their time, and overtaking when they see fit. But here in the early stages, that's kind of what you have to do here. You still have a lot of race to go here. 24 laps of racing. So no point in forcing a move that you know you won't be able to make work just yet in this race.
We had the first 2 penalties in this race, as Izzat Kush grabs the first penalty of 3 seconds, which gives a little bit also a disadvantage on the track position right now if there's a safety car at the end of the race. And also we're seeing that FRL Jamie 93, in fact, he took a 3-second time penalty also. And also I would like to mention that Jamie 93, he congratulated Fallen Monkeys for being an amazing commentator. So well done for that, Fallen Monkeys, because you got a little bit also of an appreciation post over there.
Oh, thank you, Jamie93, for the, oh no! Just speaking of Jamie93, apologies for that, but he got caught up with a battle on track, and, that's not, he's not gonna like me after this, because that is not what you should be doing, retiring on track. You do want to bring that car in the pits. But for Jamie93, very early on, got caught up into a mistake. Thankfully, that car is going to pull over, and that's going to be it's not going to get too involved. But right as we were talking about him, I was watching his battle. It looked like thanks to, in part to Cody's physics, it looked like that was just I think it was the wheels getting caught up with one another. And in a high-speed section like that, at that point, you're either absolutely a pro at saving the car, or you're just stuck riding the drift and hoping for the best. And I guess the best didn't turn out too well for Jamie93. But down to 17 runners. No safety car out for this, as it was a very quick pull over to the side and retirement. Possible commentator's curse here, as we're prone to do here looking at the chat. Jamie, and he goes very deep into the corner section there, and that allowed Mark to get a very easy move, go up into P9 now, and Jamie being pressured by Eklund in the Renault a little bit further behind. So we'll see how this battle is playing out. But crucially, I'm looking at the top 2 now. Gap is 1.8 seconds between Netsky in second and what is now Ratterdal in third. And through all of that rotation, he found himself, he's down in 5th position now. So I completely missed that. I'm not too sure how that all played out, as he was up in battling for third. Ephraim, were you able to see what happened in rotation, why he's down in 5th position now?
I don't know why, but maybe he had a little bit of a moment, because now he's a little bit away also from it's push, I think, up. But no, I didn't see what happened to him. Definitely also Ryan Molt is close to rotation now, and let's mention that it's going to be a little bit hard also for Ferg to keep on going with those tires, as he used a lot of tire wear.
Like it. We'll see how that'll play out for him.
He maybe will be one of the first few people to pit, as also Nathan JB right now. We have a DRS on Ferg. Let's see, it's going to be a late braking, but very good also.
But he goes deep though, overtake. So that it was a nice overtake. He went a little bit deep, so I thought Ferg might have been able to pull a switchback move and get right back at him. But unfortunately for Ferg, it was not the case, as Nathan found that traction where he needed it, got the overtake done, and he's going to hang on to that P7. Ferg is going to be sitting behind now in P8, possibly to regroup and re-push afterwards. Now we've got a bit of a battle brewing now between, looks like it's Mark, Jamie, and Eklund. These 3 cars very close to one another now, battling it out for P9, P10. With DRS, I think we're going to see these 3 drivers close up to one another as they head up the hill into turn 1. I don't think we're going to see much of an overtake here. I think they're going to still remain one behind another, but if one of these 2 drivers here can absolutely nail Sector 1, nail these S sections, they might be able to set themselves up for a nice overtake overtake down the back straight or even beforehand. We've seen going into that hard left-hander before the DRS straight, we've seen a couple overtakes happen throughout the weekend thus far. Maybe we'll see a couple here in Division 1 as they head down towards it now. It's going to remain single file for these three drivers at the very least. But now with the help of... Yep.
But I would like to also update you a little bit about the penalties, as it seems that we're seeing that Knight took a 3-second penalty as well. I see also CRL Wuhan, who took another 3-second time penalty. Duel takes another 3-second time penalty. Jamie won, and also Wizard Kush was the first one to grab some penalties. They need to... The penalties are so crucial on this track, because if you have a late safety car, you won't get enough distance from the other car behind you. You will lose a lot of positions, and I think this is going to be a game changer if a lot of penalties will be unserved, obviously, because they are track limits penalties.
Yep, definitely going to be a game changer. Drivers are going to have to keep things within the track limits, within the white lines, or they risk getting into a lot of trouble if, like you said, if we do have that late safety car. And even without the late safety car, drivers could end up in trouble if they have too many that stack up one behind another. Now, through all of that, we were seeing Mark, Jamie, and Eklund. There was a little bit of a move from Jamie and went a little bit deep, and that allowed Mark to switch back right back. And we saw Knight and Feral Fury have a little bit of a battle with each other here on circuit, right around that similar position at the end of the DRS straight. But it looks like, as predicted here in the Division 1 race, a lot of overtaking is happening with the help of DRS. Speaking of, here comes Netsky down the inside of Chapalelli. Who's going to get this position as they touch wheels? They're going side by side still. Chapalelli still hanging on to that P1 for the time being. And now Netsky, I think he's going to try to switch back. He's going to be forced around the outside. He's going to have to go the long way around here. And I think he might realize that this is not the most ideal spot to overtake. He's going to stick close behind, but we might see a possible lunge down the start-finish straight from Netsky on Chapalelli for the lead of the race. Now, Feral Fury and Knight are having a big battle here on circuit as well that I want to keep an eye out on. I'm going to quickly switch over to that as it's Feral Fury still leading the way as they're coming through the swooping right-hander. Knight still putting a lot of pressure on Feral Fury, going a little bit deep though, so that could be a possible warning for him. Chapalelli still hanging on to that P1 after this DRS straight along the start-finish straight. Not the most overtaking opportunities here, especially going up the hill into the braking zone. But we might see possibly this battle for the lead pick up right where it left off, especially if Netsky can get the exit he needs. Let's switch back over to this battle now, as we'll ride on board with Netsky as we'll watch him head down this back straight. We'll see how he can close up. Chapalelli getting a nice exit on that corner. That's crucial for him here. With Netsky with DRS. Not much ERS to work with though for Netsky, as he's not going to be close enough this lap around. I think last lap was his window of opportunity, and unfortunately didn't quite work out. But Rotation and Malta, they're still continuing that battle. They're now going side by side. They touched wheels a little bit. You saw the AlphaTauri of Ryan Malta kick out just a tiny little bit with the unsettling of the car. They're still going side by side now through this next corner. Rotation having to go a little bit deep into that corner, but they're still alongside one another. That's going to be Ryan Malta going the long way around. Is he going to get that position? It turns into the inside line, and he does get the position. Up into P5 goes Ryan Malta, but the question is now for how long, as Rotation is right behind, and he might just have DRS to help him put himself right back alongside of Ryan Malta here. But once again, up the hill, down this start-finish straight, not going to happen here. But we are going to see a bit of an overtake from Mark and Jamie as they're battling it out. Mark puts himself back up into P9. Jamie back down into 10th position.
Marquise.
Yep.
It's very interesting to see, if you can also show it, that Ryan Malta didn't use any ERS at all. He's on 100% ERS.
I'll pop the
This is, I
ERS
think,
on for a little bit here. Let's quickly switch over to him. I'm seeing 20% ERS on Ryan Malta's car on my screen here.
I don't know. I have around 98%, so I don't know if it's a glitch.
It could possibly be. I'm sure Ryan Malta's wishing he had 98% ERS in this battle with rotation, but they're both down to very similar levels, at least from what I'm seeing.
Maybe it's a bit. I think it's a glitch from the game then.
It might just be here, possibly from your end. But that would have been an absolute sight to see, though, if Ryan Malta had used no ERS with all these overtaking already. As we all know, rotation is not an easy customer to take, even on a bad day here. And it looks like rotation's having a pretty decent day, I would say. But we're starting to see our first round of pit stops. That's Shapalili and Izat Kush taking their pit stops. So Netsky continuing onwards, Ryder Dahl continuing onwards. We have a yellow flag here as let's ride on board very quickly with Knight to see what's happening here. Is it maybe a bit of a... There might have been just a little bit of a brake check into the pit lane as everybody was scrambling into the pits here on lap 11 to put on the fresh set of medium tires. Very possibly, because I didn't quite see any other reason that would have brought out that yellow flag. But now this is where things get interesting. Shapalili out in P9 now as he's right behind Josh 2. And you know Josh 2 isn't going to make things any easier for Shapalili as he's going to try to work his way back up the field and grow that gap to Netsky, who he feels he can continue onwards on those soft tires, excuse me. But we saw a yellow flag through Sector 1. That might have involved Izat Kush, who just came out of the pits on the mediums. He was right close to this gaggle of cars of Will and Andin, but now fell behind. Shapalili and Josh 2 having a little bit of a battle, but it looks like Shapalili does get ahead. Let's quickly ride on board, though, as we can see right ahead, Eklund and Mark with a bit of a battle. Shapalili very sneakily down the inside of Mark, though, and now down the inside of Eklund. What a drive from Shapalili through those few corners there, as he pulls off a double overtake in 2 corners.
Netsky is pitting now. Let's see if this overcut by Netsky.
Looks like the top 5 now are all taking their pit stops. Very quickly now, here comes Shapalili around the final corner. So the question is now, where is Netsky going to come out? It looks like Shapalili's going to be well ahead. Eklund's going to be well ahead. Josh 2 as well. So Netsky is going to find himself, I believe, in a net P2, given second and third have yet to make their pit stops. But Josh 2 now, on those medium tires, he's going to go a little bit longer, so he can maybe play a little bit of a spoiler here to, at the very least, to Netsky, or if he can keep up with Shapalili after that overtake, might be able to have a little bit of fun here with this position as well. But I think Eklund's probably going to pit either at the end of this lap or maximum, I think, at the end of next lap, because I think if you go any longer than that, you're going to lose way too much time on those old soft tires.
In fact, maximum laps on the soft tires will be around 12 laps, because you will have a lot of wear and you will not manage to do a great strategy as well. But he's going to have the best medium tires for the right temperatures, because also we're going to see these drivers carrying out these medium tires for the last 16 laps.
Yep, so it is going to be the one stop here. Through all of that, we saw it looked like AJ Wuhan Knight were battling it out. Ryder Dahl got involved. He got ahead of Knight after Knight had a little bit of a lockup going into the right-handed corner before the left-hander. Ryder Dahl got ahead, now chasing down AJ Wuhan. And it looks like Eklund, he has pit at the end of this lap as expected, given that with the under green flag conditions is what we can expect to see. But here comes Ryder Dahl now, very quickly with DRS, makes quick work of AJ Wuhan. I think that shows the difference between 12-lap-old medium tires and essentially 1-lap-old medium tires, as Ryder Dahl just has much more pace, as now he's trying to close that gap up to Eklund. But meanwhile, Ferg, he's retired out of the race. He's had enough here. I'm not too sure what brought that on for Ferg, But very quickly now, we are down to 16 runners here on lap 13 as Ferg is out of this race. And I'm looking here, Izat Kush definitely not having the U.S. Grand Prix he was hoping for here, as he is down in a lowly P16, and he's might be hoping for a possible safety car to try to close back up, because he's 15, nearly 16 seconds behind 15th place of Jamian. So kind of stuck driving his own race is Izat Kush in this stage of the Grand Prix. Here comes Ryan Malta, though, battling with Nathan JB. They go side by side. Ryan Malta having to go a little bit wide in the through that corner, so unable to get the move done. So he's going to remain in P11, but for how long now? So I think he's going to try to close right back up to Nathan JB, try to snag that move maybe in a lap from now, as he has a little bit more ERS to work with now, right around half a tank, 50% ERS from what I'm seeing on my graph here. Meanwhile, Netsky, he gets ahead of Josh too down the start-finish straight, so Netsky back up into second, but he's going to have his work cut out for him himself, as he's going to have to close a 5-second gap essentially to try to catch up and overtake Schiaparelli, who's now kind of running his own race in the lead as he's just coming through the end of the S section now, and has driven a clean race all throughout thus far, as we've hit the midway point at the race here. Now looking, I think I missed Cohen a tiny little bit here. Apologies for that. ERS for the top two though, 50% and now 16, 14% and falling here for Netsky. I think I'm a few laps behind, but I guess better late than never, question mark. Yep. But there we have it. So currently I think Schiaparelli might have the advantage here, having that track position, having a bit more ERS to work with, and Netsky really going to have to push. And crucially now, that gap is falling, but maybe not as much as we were hoping for here. If you're a Netsky fan or a Renault fan here in the chat watching at home.
Also, we need to mention that Sierra Mark, he took a 6-second time penalty. Definitely it's not going to help him in the grid right now, as we're seeing that they're so close from P10. I think it's not even from P10. They're really close from P7, from Ferry until
actually all the way down. But here comes Nathan JB, though. He's going to try to make a move. He's going to go the long way around, though, on Duwil, and that's Ryan Malta, who tried to follow right along Nathan JB. Let's right on board. Ryan Malta doesn't get ahead, but you can see how close he is to Duwil, and I think Duwil may be struggling a tiny little bit on those hard tires now. Now that we're seeing everybody taking their pit stops, and they're on the much fresher and quicker tires. So I think Duwil maybe possibly regretting that choice to put on the hard tires. As you can see with the onboard, Ryan Malta practically pushing Duwil. Is he going to make a lunge down the inside? Yes, he is. Job is half done, though. Can he make that move stick? Yes, he does. So Ryan Malta up into P10 now, and he does have DRS to try to get away, but crucially, Duwil also had DRS. So this battle is still going to be picking up. The two Racing Points switch positions, and you can see now how close these four drivers are now. I don't think the Racing Points, though, are going to be battling amongst each other all that much. That might have been a coordinated switch for Andon to allow Nathan JB to chase down Feral Fury, and now Andon can focus on the what looks to be a very, very fast Ryan Malta in that AlphaTauri, chasing down as quick as he can, closing up that gap. Is he going to try something maybe around the final corner here? I think it's a little bit daring, but he could possibly do it. He's going to stay patient, but maybe with the help of DRS now, he's going to use a little bit of overtake now and maybe try something down the inside. No, the outside it is of turn 1. He's going to try the long way around. Thought about making a switchback, it looked like, but Andon completely shuts that off. Solid defensive drive so far from Andon, but I'm going to switch over quickly because now Nathan JB putting a lot of pressure on Feral Fury. we've got essentially 2 battles, one behind another here, taking part here in the midfield, and this is where at least all of my eyes are on now here, watching these battles play out. Now that we're seeing these pit stops take effect, and everybody getting mixed up once again here on track, trying to overtake one another. But back down the back straight, here they go. Here comes Nathan JB. Is he going to get an overtake? Or maybe we'll see Ryan Malta overtake the likes of Andin. It looks like we're going to go 2 by 2 now, as that's going to be Nathan JB ahead of Feral Fury. Who's going to get the move between Malta and Andin? It looks like Ryan Malta gets the overtake done. Here comes Rotation now, going to try around the outside of Andin. Andin kind of like a sitting duck here, it seems, forcing Rotation to go wide. Rotation, though, very late on the braking there, has to go a little bit deep. Andin tried to switch back, but Rotation was able to recover just well enough to hang on to that P10. Yep.
In fact, Rotation now, because he went wide in that corner, he took a 3-second time penalty. And also Ryan, because he went wide right now, he got another 3-second time penalty. A lot of penalties went through in lap 16, and also Rotation now is trying to overtake Ryan Malta from the outside, and in fact he managed also to get to that position, but let's see if the penalties are going to change some results over here, because we're seeing that Nathan JB is one of the only drivers, in fact rather than Chapelele, Nathan JB together with Eklund and Josh 2 are the only drivers that doesn't get any penalty yet. All the other drivers have a 3-second or a 6-second time penalty. And right now we're showing Ryan, and I don't know who
I think, I'll be honest, I think that was Rotation ahead. I'll be honest though, as Isat Kush, he's retiring out of this race. I think, I mean, not to say it was the best move, but I think that might have been a little bit of an overzealous move from Ryan Malta, trying to go around the outside of Rotation. But at the end of the day, he made it.
Damage on his wing.
Oh, look at that. He does have damage. I didn't even see that. But look at this right behind. Yes. Andin and Mark going side by side through this section of corners. This is a sight to see here. The midfield battle is just really picking up in this stage of the race, with now what is 10 laps to go of the Grand Prix. I think 11 laps for most of these runners. But like I mentioned, this midfield battle is crazy here, with so many cars here battling for position. You could probably throw a blanket over about 7 of these cars here and cover them all. But now we're seeing some pit stops from the likes of Feral Fury and Andin. Nathan JB looks like he got ahead of AJ Wuhan to go up into 4th position now. So Nathan JB running a fantastic race so far, as I think they're going a little bit longer. Let's take a look. No, they're all on those fresher tires. So fantastic race so far from Nathan JB. AJ and Knight, they are they're up into a higher position, but they have yet to take a pit stop, I believe. They're still on those medium tires they started the race on, so they might possibly end up stuck in this battle, or might end up behind this battle, given how close everybody is. Now, who is that making a move here? I think that's Josh 2 now going down the inside of Eklund on those soft tires, and he might actually get the pace on Do Will now with DRS with those soft tires. Let's see. Further ahead, you're seeing Mark overtaking Rotation, as Rotation is struggling with that wing damage. Here comes Josh 2 now. He does get the overtake right behind Eklund. Thought about maybe following, but was not able to close that gap enough. Josh 2 up into 10th, and might very quickly end up in 9th now, as he's going to try to go around the outside of Rotation, and Rotation had to leave space. He does leave the space, but he loses out on that position. I think Rotation is just, like I was saying, really struggling with that end plate damage, which some tracks you can really deal with it, but here around Coda, with how technical this circuit is in Sector 1 and Sector 3, you're going to have a bad time with any form of damage, and I think Rotation taking a pit stop is proving just that. Josh, though, he's continuing his charge up the field. He now gets ahead of Mark, as he's getting himself involved with all these battles we're watching, and he's going to very quickly, I think, catch up to Knight. And to be fair, Ryan Malta got ahead of Knight not too long ago to put himself back up into P6, and he's trying to close up on AJ.
Let's not forget that Josh 2 doesn't have any penalty so far, so that is going to get him a little bit higher positions, as I am seeing that some drivers have already 6-second time penalties. And also interesting that Duel, he didn't pit yet. He's still on those hard tires. In fact, I think he should have pitted already, because I think with new tires, definitely you can do around 10 to 11 laps on those softs and you don't lose any speed or any pace. But also right now, on my camera, I don't know if you're showing the same thing, there's a big fight between Knight and Mark. In fact, Knight pushes Mark a little bit, so Mark is finding it hard to get the best grip. Knight, in fact, he didn't pit yet. He's on 18 laps of mediums.
There we go. I think now Knight is going to take his pit stop after those medium tires must be screaming at him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Duwil maybe take his pit stop on the next lap to follow suit, because it seems like both Red Bulls were running very, very long on those harder tires. But for Knight, he's going to come out in, looks like he's out in 12th now, but might lose out on a few more positions, might end up in 14th. Possibly behind, well, AJ, who was in the pits as well, but behind Andin, and just ahead of rotation. But on my screen now, for those watching this stream at home, I've got Josh 2 on my screen now, closing up to Ryan Malta. And as you mentioned, Ephraim, Josh 2 driving a fantastic race so far. No penalties just yet, as he's been picture perfect. And now as he's going side by side with Ryan Malta, taking that inside line, he finds himself up into P5. So he has joined the likes of Nathan JB and now even Ryder Dahl, who also have yet to take penalties. So he has passed the essentially the wall of penalty drivers. So now it's all a matter of trying to close up for position, but possibly P4, barring a crazy incident here, might be the best Josh 2 can do, because after if he can get past Nathan, after that he's gonna have to close a 10-second gap to catch up to Ryder Dahl if he wants to see that podium, or at the very least hope that Ryder Dahl starts taking a whole bunch of penalties between now and the end of the race, since Ryder Dahl's been essentially running a clean slate of penalties so far here.
It seems that 10 laps ago we had some yellow flags, and in fact Daniel Ferguson, who is known as Ferg in this game, in this division, he just hit the pit wall, and that's why there were yellow flags in lap 11. That's what he's written.
Oh, that would explain that.
So yes, that's why we didn't know what happened just before that, and Ferg, in fact, he ended up hitting the pit wall and also retiring the race. That's why he retired so early.
Oh, I see. That's understandable, and also makes sense why when I jumped on board with Knight, I couldn't quite see anything that had happened coming through the final corner, because I guess it wasn't the final corner. It was leading into the pits. So a bit of an unfortunate moment for Ferg there, but it's going to give him a little bit of early preparation for next week's events when we hit Brazil, and I do expect Ferg to come out guns a-blazing on the final race of the season next week. But for us, we do trek on here, as we still have 6 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Josh 2 now very, very close to Nathan JB, 0.2 of a second behind on those much quicker soft tires. And we might be able to see Josh 2 make an overtake here down the start-finish straight. Let's ride on board with them, as very quickly moving towards the inside, well before the braking zone. Nathan JB trying to put up a battle as much as he can, but looks like Josh 2 and those soft tires is a little bit too much to handle there, as Josh 2 is now up into 4th position, Nathan JB down in 5th. And now Ryan Malta is starting to close up just a tiny little bit to Nathan JB. So this might be a bit of an interesting battle here for the end of the race. Now it looks like, oh my goodness, This is AJ and Feral Fury going side by side. Oh no, what happened to Feral Fury? Feral Fury, I sort of foresaw that happening here as they were going side by side through the S's that normally ends in one way. And for Feral Fury, it did not end well. He has no front wing on that Haas car, and that is going to be a long ways around the track to the pit lane to get that change. So a bit of a costly mistake there. At first glance, almost looked like a racing incident, but might be something the stewards would look at. But I really don't think, at least from what I saw quickly there, it did not look like there was much of any foul play there. Just hard racing throughout, and you know, accidents happen, especially in a section like that of the track. But I think it's starting to show the sense of urgency a lot of these drivers are having now, as we're on lap 23 out of 28, and not too much time left anymore for these drivers to start overtaking and to start trying to create their gaps and you know, work their penalties into their strategy and work out where they want to end up. Try to limit the damage with those penalties.
Monkeys, can I please comment? What is Duel actually doing? 20 on those hard tires.
I'm gonna make
testing them.
I'm gonna make a bold assumption here that Duel, at this point, I think he might be hoping for a very, very late safety car to come out so that he can essentially get that free pit stop under safety car. Now that he's on 22 lap old hard tires. It is a big gamble to take, especially given what we've seen here in Division 1. It wouldn't be the first time that we've seen every other division have a plethora of safety cars, with Division 1 not bringing out a single one. As of now, that seems to be the case, just clean driving all throughout. But I think for Duel at this point, he feels with the gaps, there's nothing to lose here. He either holds out for the safety car or he pits anyways and ends up all the way down near P14. So at this point, I think he's just hoping for the best. And worst to worst, he's going to end up back at square one anyways after that pit stop.
Exactly, that's what you said. Also, while you were telling us this Duel, we saw Ryan Malta. He got another 2-second time penalty on those 11 laps of mediums. He's struggling a lot, as Mark also got around 6 seconds time of penalties as well. It's going to be close between Mark and Ryan, but in the other fact, there's a big fight between Nathan Jambi and Ryan Malta as well. So right now I expect that Ryan, he will get a DRS, and maybe he will overtake also Nathan JB, but I don't know how many ERS he have. I still have 100% on Ryan. It's a glitch, the side. You can tell me.
So he's up to around 30% now. So Ryan Malta has 30%. As I'm riding on board with him now to see if he can get the overtake done. He's closing up ever so slightly, not using too much, being forced towards the outside. It's going to come down to the braking here. Is he going to try maybe a switchback here, Ryan Malta? Does not look like it, so I think he's close, but not close enough. But right behind, Eklund and Mark are having a bit of a battle amongst each other. Mark now has the inside line of this corner. They're still going side by side. This is close. There's contact here between Eklund and Mark as they're trying to battle for position. Mark, though, coming right back with that switchback move, and he takes that P7 right back from Eklund. So a little bit of elbows out battling between these two drivers, as we've seen time and time again from a lot of drivers here in Division 1. But it's Mark still in 7th, Eklund in 8th. And through all of that, Ryan Malta is still stuck in P6, stuck behind that racing point of Nathan JB. And I'm sure he, more than anybody else, wants to see that pink car in his mirrors rather than ahead of him through his visor. As we're on lap 25 out of 28. Duel, he's still continuing onwards on those hard tires. Is he trying a nose stop?
Give the penalties as
Hang on, let me take a look here. Yeah, it looks like he's almost looks like he's trying a nose stop here as Duel, as that he's still on those hard tires. Knight now, he's closing up on the other racing point of Andin, 0.4 of a second behind as they're battling for some much needed points in the Drivers' Championship here, battling for P12. But I'm going to take a quick pause on that battle because here we go. While they were heading around the corner, Ryan Malta once again got close, but not close enough to overtake Nathan JB. Eklund and Mark picking up where they left off just one lap ago. Oh no! And that was Mark having a big moment there, clipping the back of Eklund, having a half spin. He saves the car, but now Jamian is able to get past Mark. So Mark now finds himself in P9 after getting a tiny little bit late on the brakes, hitting the back of Eklund's Renault, and essentially unsettling the car and going for a tiny little half spin there. So not the best session for Mark, as he's now diving into the pits, maybe going to be changing those tires to put on a set of softs to try to get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix perhaps here.
Definitely right now, Duel, as he didn't pit yet. I think he needs to pit one time for sure, no? Else he will get disqualified.
That's what I mean, I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure he's got to pit once. I mean, it's props to Duel for taking these hard tires, 25 laps here and counting. But Duel, you got to take a pit stop. I mean, I can, maybe if he's got the stream open, I mean, I can talk to him. Apologies for everybody here. Duel, il faut que tu arrêtes au moins une fois pour changer tes pneus. Sinon, ça se peut que ce soit taille un DQ. Alright, so that's my one little warning in his... I'll see if maybe at the stream open, let him know in French.
What language is that?
That was French.
Oh, that was French. Okay.
Yeah, because I know
in Canada you speak French. Okay.
Yeah, we well, two official languages are English and French. I know Duwil from La France, so he's very much so French. Now Knight and Andin, just to completely jump over back to this, we're having a little bit of a battle here. Looks like Andin is able to get the best of Knight for the moment, but it looks like they're continuing where they left off. Cohen thinking I had a stroke, not quite.
Gets a 3-second time penalty as well.
Oh, that's going to be added to his time, and Josh too might see his eyes light up here, but he's got 8 seconds. He's got it's an 8-second gap now, so he's going to have to close up 5 seconds, I believe, in a span of a lap and 2/3. I'm not too sure if that's going to work too well. Duwil either heard me or he had this plan now, as he's finally taking his pit stop to put on a set of soft tires, and now is coming out of the pits. And we'll see where he's going to end up now. Rotation equally taking a pit stop here to put on a set of softs, so he's at least going to try. But he's serving a 5-second penalty, it looked like, almost, from what I saw on the screen. But we haven't spoken much about the leader, but Chapelelli and Netsky, essentially, they just ran off in the distance, drove their own race. And not really much to say about it, if I'm being honest. They just did what they had to do, kept their head down, and looking on pace for a solid result. But now Ryan Malta is putting a lot of pressure once again on Nathan JB. They're going to be picking up this battle right where they left off. A little bit of a lockup from both of these drivers here as they're coming through that very difficult corner. Knight and Andin, look at that, side by side once again, as they've been oh so often before through this section here. What a sight to behold. Who is going to get this position? Looks like it's Andin. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between the two drivers. The Red Bull and the Racing Point touched a little bit. That unsettled Knight's car. He's able to keep it and not take any damage in the process. But I think that made it so that Andin can build a slight little bit of a gap here now. Somebody's going very, very slow here. That's Rotation, who is going very, very slow, letting Feral Fury get ahead of him there. I think maybe some team orders here for the championship, as Rotation is reserving. Oh, another penalty for Ryan Malta here. Let's get them up.
Ryan, Nathan, penalties yet. He's struggling a lot. I never seen Ryan struggling that much. I never seen much penalties. Definitely he wasn't prepared for race, but I'm pretty sure that Nathan JB everything out of Ryan as well, and he's fantastic race without Also, Josh 2 and Chapelele, the 3 drivers who didn't get any penalty in this race, and Mark gets a Mark is in 12th and
uh-oh, I think you're cutting a little bit here, Ephraim. So apologies for that. But it looks like Andy and Knight are battling it out. But through all of that, Shapalili takes the victory here at Coda at the United States Grand Prix. Netsky in second. Ryder Dahl rounding out the podium for the time being. Josh 2 in fourth, with Nathan JB, Ryan Malta now crossing the line. But my eyes are on this battle here. Knight and Andin, they both have similar penalties. They're essentially side by side now. It's going to be a sprint to the line. Who's going to get the position? This is almost Baku all over again here. But it looks like it is going to be Knight who gets P10. And Andin getting P11 by a tenth of a second. What a race that was between these two drivers. I can hear through the commentator's booth how crazy that was from a driver's perspective, but through all of that, who was that in the wall? That's Mark crossing the line in style. Right behind it looked like, as now Do Will in 13th. Just gotta wait for the two Haas cars to cross the line in formation. As rotation gets involved there. Oh, and that's Feral Fury getting involved. Fireworks getting off here at the end of the United States Grand Prix on track, but what a race that was. Eklund, driver of the day as voted by the people here at Coda in the F1 2020 universe. But it was a solid drive, but as far as the podium's concerned, not much to say about them. They drove the race they had to drive, got the result they needed. Honestly, just seemingly just another day in the office for them. From, if I'm going to be honest here. See it here, and...
Chapelele. You can hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay, Chapelele managed to dominate this race.
Oh, no.
It means a fantastic race by... I mean, never seen that much pace in a qualifying in this track, and also a very good race. Definitely Chapelele is a champion material. I think he's leading the...
Yep, Chapelele leading the way. He does extend his lead in the championship, and crucially with Izat Kush, who retired out of this race and not taking any points. That's going to be a 40-point gap, and I think that very possibly could mean that the championship's decided here now for the drivers. As even if he wins, then I don't think much is going to happen. And speaking of, we have a race winner who jumped in. Shap, can you hear us at all?
Yes.
So, a solid drive from you. I mean, like I said on the stream, kind of business as usual for you. But we'll jump into this now. Take us through it. What were your thoughts here after that race?
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. I got a good undercut on Netsky, so... And then traffic was a bit scary, but I got through it, so... Yeah, after that it was just managing the tires a bit, but it was fine at the end. And Izat retiring, I think it's a bit lucky. I don't know what happened with him and Ferrell, but yeah, just a solid race.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to see what happened there between the two of them, but I think with Izat retiring, I'd have to take a look here and study officially, but that might be it for the drivers' championship, or at the very least, you've essentially made it near mathematically impossible. So I'm gonna ask, how does it feel being essentially the Division 1 champion here this season?
Feels good. It got kind of scary to the end because I bottled so much, but I practiced for this race, so I knew I had it in the bag. And yeah, feels good.
Well done, Chapelele. I mean, you dominated the qualifying. I never... the race. But definitely you were one of the drivers that dominated this race from the first lap. Maybe you had a little bit also of Netsky, but I think Netsky then gambled pit stop and you took position because Netsky ended up in traffic as well, yes?
Yeah, the undercut is quite big, so I got the 5 seconds on him and that was pretty much it for the race. Yeah.
And no penalties. Chapelele, no penalties.
Yeah, I wasn't pushing. I wasn't pushing
one.
for the whole race.
I know much drivers in Division 1 in ISRL getting that much of penalty. In fact, there were only 3 drivers that didn't get a penalty. It was not Nathan JB, Josh 2, and you. So, a track like this, to not get a penalty, you need to be a very fantastic driver. Congratulations, and maybe we championship winner, because I know that the last championships of Division 1 was won by the same person, yes? If you confirm, Monkey?
Yeah. Yep, it was all from Mutter, but now, for the first time in 4 seasons, we get to crown a new champion, and congratulations. But I saw we've got we've also got to move on to the other podium as well. Let's see if I'm going to go down the order. Netsky, I think you jumped in. Netsky, can you hear us at all?
Yeah.
So, a solid drive from you here. It was very close between you and Shap for at least for the early stages of the race, but I think he kind of got away from you a little bit there after the pit stops. But take us through it. What were your thoughts here after that US Grand Prix?
Well, I did see in the qualifying that Chapelele was quite much quicker than everybody else in the grid right now. So, on this track, he completely destroyed us in the qualifying, and yeah. So the race was just trying to stay inside the DRS zone for some time, and hopefully I could keep his back. And yeah.
Netsky, did you know about time you're gonna lose in that undercut that you try to do?
No, it was very unexpected actually. Yeah.
You ended up losing around 5 seconds, yes?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that much. I was hoping that his tire was going to explode at the end, but yeah, it was a loose end, I guess.
It's a very good pit stop also. And we have also Ryder Dahl, yes?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Hello. So, Ryder Dahl from 3rd on the grid to 3rd here on the track, a solid podium for you in that Mercedes. And the question I always like to ask is just to start off, talk us through it. What were your thoughts here after that race?
Yeah, I knew for the race I was gonna be probably top 5, but I wasn't expecting to be top 3. So in the start of the race I lost rotation the first lap. And then after maybe 5 laps I got past him and was trying to push towards Netsky and Chapelele, but they just there was no pace, so I couldn't really catch them. And then Chap pitted lap 10 I think, and me and Netsky pitted lap 11. And I wasn't expecting the undercut to be that big. I don't know what it was, maybe 5 seconds, but yeah, we lost a lot of time in the pit stop.
And also traffic. There was traffic. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, there were another 2 drivers who were in front of you, Netsky, yes?
Yeah. I think Ekelund was in front of me, and Josh.
And Josh too,
yeah.
yes. Ryder Dahl, can I ask you a question about what happened to an OG rotation? Because we didn't see the action, but definitely something happened to rotation when you were in front of him, no?
No, I don't really know what happened. I passed him lap 5 maybe, and he just pulled away. I don't really know what happened. I saw that Josh dived into turn 1, but I didn't see any major contact, so I don't really know what happened.
Very good. Thank you.
Awesome. So, I mean, congratulations to, well, both of you and all three of you in Spirit. As I saw Schiaparelli jumped out, he's got some other stuff to do. But, I mean, to the two of you, congratulations on the podium. Solid drives all around. But I think that's just about to do it, just about going to do it here for the stream here in Division 1. Ephraim, thank you once again for coming in and helping out here in the commentators booth. Your insight, your co-commentator is super, extremely appreciated here, so thank you so much for that. But of course, you'll want to make sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, as we will have the finale. It's going to be the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Brazil always brings out a fantastic race. It is a bit of a driver and fan favorite alike, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that one. But until then, on behalf of myself, Ephraim, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.